Hey everybody, it's your good buddy Spider back with another episode of the show, brought to you by LTATM. Let's talk about the madness. And I have to admit something. I don't have a set topic or set of topics or series of topics or anything that's been previously arranged for this show. I wanted to do a show tonight, but I admit I'm not fully prepared for it. So we're going to see where we go and what we do, and and we're gonna figure it out from there. So how is everybody? How you doing? How's everybody feeling? It's been a warm, cool, rainy series of days here in Ohio. Excuse me, I have a bit of a cough. I don't think I'm coming down with a cold. I think I just overdid it the past week or two. And the air quality's been kind of bad outside too. We're getting a little bit of fall off from various wildflowers, maybe some wildflowers, but from wildfires farther north. And so I think there's some residuals that have got down here and getting into the lungs a little bit. I've been outside quite a bit doing different things. Yeah, so I've been all over. I've had a lot to do over the last week. I had a performance at an open mic night at an establishment called The Fame, F-A-M-E, and it stands for something. Pardon me, excuse me. I think it's like Family Art something and Entertainment. I don't remember what the meaning is. F-A-M-E, as in like it's an acronym. So I did a short greatest hits 15-minute set, just 3 songs. I seemed to do okay. I mean, I think I did okay. I don't know how everybody felt about it. There wasn't that many people there, but, that's how it goes. I was asked to perform, and I did. But I also made, I talked to the CEO of my record label, which is Big Buff Records, if you'd forgotten. He's technically we're partners, but he's the boss. He's the CEO. And I'm the chief operating officer, and I had a good talk, because people think, oh yeah, if you're running a company together, you must talk all the time, and that's not how things go in little businesses like this. A lot of times, if you don't have a storefront or an office or anything like that, you're just coming back from each other's homes, and everybody's got their own families to do, and sometimes you go several days without talking to another person in the company other than the people on the label that you're trying to promote and things of that nature. So we got caught up on a lot of stuff, talked some business with some other interested people, and got the ball rolling. I mean, they got a bowl rolling, but that's legal in Ohio and they can do that. I'm not as into that as other people. I will have my drinkies, but no judgment. But we got things moving in the right direction for some things. So that's good. I've been trying to do different things. I don't know if I talked about this. I've been trying to do different things, health-wise, that aren't super dramatic, because I'm not a very active person. I've never been a very active person. I've always been kind of sedentary, kind of slow. I mean, I was fast when I was a kid. I could have been a sprinter, but I just didn't have the stamina for it. I'd sprint a short distance, and then I'd be breathing hard and just about near collapse. But I could beat a lot of the people that I knew that were at my grade level, as far as how fast I was in a full-on, dead-on sprint. But I just couldn't do it more than once at a time. It took me 10 minutes, 20 minutes to get recovered to do anything else. But I've never been the most athletic or active person. And now that I'm in my 40s, now that I'm getting older, it's problematic for me to try to get back into. I've tried to exercise a lot of times, and maybe it's just purely a motivation issue. I don't know. I feel like I've been pretty motivated. I have a lot of good reasons to exercise, and I keep those in my mind. But I just can't get into a routine, and I don't have the capacity to go to a gym or anything like that regularly. Because, I take care of the house, I take care of my daughter. So it's kind of tough. And I've had bloating. And people are like, ooh, that sounds gross. What kind of a show is this going to be about? It's not going to be a gross show, trust me. I've got the beer gut thing going on, but it's not. I figured out from just doing different things and changing up my habits that it's not something that's just going to go away with basic exercise anyway. It's persistent. It's something that if I had some super extreme like starvation diet and maybe some other stuff, maybe I could get cut, I guess, or get fit. But I don't really have the means to do that. I don't have the time because I'm taking care of things here. I don't have the space. My house isn't optimal for a workout area. So I have to work in little bits and pieces. And I don't want to get into drugs. I don't want to do like Ozempic or any of that other kind of stuff. I mean, that kind of thing, for one, is you hear horror stories about it all the time. I don't want to get involved in that. And I also know that I've got issues with that kind of thing. Like, you remember I've talked about, I'm sure I've talked about my substance use when I was younger, in my 20s, and I had issues with it. And I know I have it in my brain. It's part of my brain chemistry that it's a battle to fight for medication that could potentially alter my mood or anything like that, right? Or that's specifically like a synthetic drug, a painkiller or something of that nature. I don't want to do that. I try to go all natural with as much as I can. But what I'm doing is I've changed my diet. Like I eat completely. I eat mostly, not completely, but mostly differently than how I used to eat. I don't just eat whatever I want, whenever I want. My metabolism isn't good for that anymore. So I've changed to a particular like protein heavy diet with oats here and there, and for my gut health. And I'm taking a vitamin E supplement for my liver, because since I like to drink, and the logical conclusion would be, oh, well, maybe you should just stop drinking. And I could say, well, sure, but I don't want to, because we all have that little thing that's our vice. I was just talking earlier about the guys and the bowls and stuff, right? They have that, I have, and that affects memory, and that affects different things. I mean, I know people are going to be like, oh, well, it's not that, it's better for you than drinking, and maybe it is, but it's not something I want to be involved in. I've done it before, it's not a big deal for me. And it's cool for some people, but it's not for me. Anything that you take extracurricularly can potentially be damaging if you take too much at a time. And it's not necessarily going to be life-threatening, but it is going to damage you in different ways. So, and the thing I like to do is I like to drink. I enjoy it. I like the taste of different alcohols. I like the feeling I get. And I don't get flat-out drunk and things, I don't do that because I like to still be in control of my faculties. But as a side effect, it does give me bloating because there's extra fatty tissue around my liver and things. So, I'm taking a vitamin E supplement for that. Recently, because I came to... It was helping for a little while, and then I got to a standstill, and I'm still trying to get the energy consistently to do more exercise here at home. I don't want to just discount it just because I have difficulty with it. I don't want to discount it because that's just giving up, and that's just admitting that, oh well, whatever, and it's not good for me, right? So I should be more active and I should do stuff. So, but I feel tired. I can't bring up the motivation and the energy all the time. So I'm looking for ways to improve that without going to synthetic drugs and medications. So I'm on a DIM is the short term for it. I don't remember what it's like, dime something or other. It's derived from broccoli and cauliflower. It's like extracts with some other things that are all natural. They're not chemicals or anything like that. They're not some pharmaceuticals. And it's an estrogen blocker. And I guess there's going to be some people out there who are going to groan and be like, "Oh, estrogen blocker, you're one of those people who thinks that you're getting too feminine, huh?" No, that's not it. Because everybody, I've done medical research. I've looked stuff up. I don't just fly into things blind. And everybody, men and women and in between and otherwise, regardless of what you identify as, we all have certain levels of testosterone and estrogen. Whether you're any of those genders, male, female, non-binary, whatever, you've got levels of these things, right? Typically, if you are a straight male, and that's who you are, you typically rely on testosterone more. Whereas if you're a straight female, you rely on estrogen. And if you're anywhere on the spectrums in between those things, then you have different balances of one or the other. You have both, but one's usually higher than the other. And I don't think I have any problems with testosterone. I don't think so. I'm not particularly aggressive, but I am. I think it's fine. I am forthright. I am direct. I am kind of like, and I don't have confidence issues as far as that goes. I don't have a lot of the little mental symptoms that people get from lack of testosterone. I mean, I do get tired, and I do get bloated and things, and some of that has to do with it, but it's not. It also does things with your moods and stuff, and I don't have the moods. I don't have that, so I don't think it's a low testosterone. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. I'm gonna stay away from that for the moment because I think I'm fine. I don't want to overdo it. I don't want to become too get into my head that I need to be manly man, and I need to be more manly. I don't think that's the issue. I think I'm fine. I'm confident in who I am as far as that regard. But it's possible because, again, the bloating and the various fatty tissues, that can be a part of having too much estrogen for somebody who's male. So I thought, you know what, I might as well try this stuff. I went online and looked for natural things, and I compared things and looked at what people were saying about them, because I didn't want to just... I'm getting ads on Facebook for all these supplements and stuff that are like, oh, this will get your dad bod destroyed and you'll feel better than you have in 20 years. Hey. And I'm like, no, I don't think that's true. So I've picked something out, and I've got it, and I've been using it for about... I think this is the 4th day, so it's not long enough for me to make a determination on whether it's helping or not. And I haven't eaten real well also the last several days. I've been I haven't approached it the right way. I should have gotten the supplement and then taken it with fresh diet, where I'm going to eat healthy and try to keep active and try to keep all the things going in the right direction. And I haven't done that. So I'm basically relying on it alone to see what's going to happen, I guess. Because I just... today I had a shepherd's pie that I made, which is potatoes and beef. Well, I guess that's a cottage pie. I mean, a real shepherd's pie has to have lamb in it, and I don't eat lamb. I don't care for it. I don't care for various things about it. So, but anyway, I call it shepherd's pie. Whatever. Call it whatever you want. And the day before that, I had homemade burgers, and I've had some real fatty things in the past several days. So I'm not really doing myself any favors in my eating habits. So I gotta get on track with all that, right? And I'm not and maybe this is to my detriment. I've never been a super health forward kind of person. I've always made kind of bad decisions in that area. But I've tried over the years to do different things. When I was working at the hospital a couple decades ago, if you remember from my history episode, my history of me, when I was your age, I think is what I called it. There was an exercise room for the patients to do rehab and things like that, and it was open for employees when you weren't working, and if there wasn't any rehab sessions going on in it at the time, which was mostly like after hours. So I would go there and use the rowing machine and things like that, and I've done different things like that over the years, but not in any sort of regular capacity. I've always been, until I found out about the lactose intolerance situation, I would just eat cheese everything, like dripping cheese pizzas and cheeseburgers and stuffed whatever with cheese and all this kind of stuff, and it was a huge cause to my gut problems. Cutting that out did solve a lot of issues. Like I do feel a lot better. I miss eating some of that stuff, but I do feel a lot better. It has helped. It has made a definite impact to cut out dairy and anything that might have lactose in it. And people said, oh, well, you can get those things that inhibit the lactose. There's like medication stuff, and it's just easier for me just not to eat milk. It's just easier just not to do that. And there's all kinds of options otherwise. I think I've talked about this before, too, on the show, so this is maybe some rehashing. Bear with me, though. It's not a recap, because that's what the other show does. I don't do what that other show does. They do recaps all the time, like 29 episodes in their first season, and 11 of them are recaps. I don't know what goes through people's heads sometimes. But, so there's options. You've got dairy-free ice cream and cheese and things, and the ice creams usually come out pretty good. You've got stuff with oat milk and cashew milk and soy milk, and same thing. The cheeses are iffy. I cannot find a dairy-free provolone cheese that tastes like provolone cheese. I just can't. And it makes me sad, because provolone, a fresh slice of provolone sandwich, or even just straight up, it's fantastic. But and that could be one of the reasons why I've got the imbalance in the testosterone and the estrogen, because soy products, and there's a lot of foods with soy in them these days. Like, you don't think about it. You read the labels, and there's a ton of foods with soy in it. And I'm not saying anything bad about that. I'm not saying soy is bad, because I like soy. I like soy sauce. I like various, vegetarian things that have soy in them. I don't think that's a problem. But it has been known to increase estrogen levels. So, and that's not, I know there's also going to be people saying, that's propaganda, it's conspiracy, you're just trying to fight against vegan eating. And no, I'm not, because I have nothing against any of that kind of stuff. I've got no stake in that race. See what I did there? No stake in the vegan race? No stake in that. This is a dumb joke. Anyway. It was really dumb. It was really bad. I could apologize, but I'm not going to. People can eat what they want, and I have to eat the alternatives. Like, I have to eat, I have to eat non-dairy cheeses and non-dairy ice creams if I'm going to eat any of that, right? So, because I can't have the dairy, I can't have the lactose. But the soy stuff, it does have an increased effect for estrogen, and that's not saying anything bad about it. It's just what it does. You can't get mad about it. So and because I live with a vegan, and all of her stuff is of course vegan. We eat not a lot, not as many as we used to because we're on different schedules, but we've eaten regular meals together where it's been meatless stuff, and so we've had to substitute things with the soy products and whatnot, and so I think maybe I'm out of balance. That's all. I think I'm out of balance. I don't think I need to be more manly and less feminine or anything like that, because I don't think that has anything to do with it. I think it's body chemistry. Okay? And I think it's affecting my body chemistry in a way that's adverse, along with my motivation to not exercise and all that other kind of thing. So, long story short, I guess, I'm taking this estrogen blocker. Or reducer, I guess. I don't know. And I'm going to see what happens. I've noticed some things. Like, I feel different throughout the day at some points. I can't say if I feel better, but I don't feel worse. Like, it kind of feels sideways, but I think I am starting to feel better in different things. And I think it is kind of helping the old gut a little bit, having these things. But we'll see. I don't want to... It's too early to say for sure. And also, I mean, apparently if you have your balances out of whack, it's supposed to be detrimental to your sexual romantic life. And I personally don't have any issues in that area. I don't need to take any medications for that. My body works perfectly well with all that kind of thing. Some days I'm tired, and I'm not saying like we're raging, we're on each other all the time over here. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that sometimes I get to thinking, yeah, I think I'd like, but I'm just tired, and then I kind of just like, no, I'm not gonna. And if she doesn't initiate anything, then I don't worry about it. And there's other times where I'll just be like, hey, what do you think? You want to go for? She'll be like, all right. It's not usually a problem for me to get charged up. And that might be too much information for some people, but it's also an important part of health. You know, if you're in a committed relationship with a person, that you have the physical aspect just as much as you have the mental and the social and everything else. It's an important part of it. A lot of people will say, oh, we don't need that to have a great relationship. Maybe you don't. Maybe that's you specifically. But humans as a whole, we have the tendencies. We need the physical contact. And I'm not saying I need it. I'm not saying I'm going to just blow up and die if I don't get a piece now and then, right? And I'm saying it kind of casually, but I don't mean it cavalier like that. I'm just saying. But it's good for us to have that release with a person that's means something in your life, right? It's good for both of you to have that release and enjoy each other's company in that way. I think it's good for you. So I don't really have that issue. Like I've never really had that issue, to be honest. I'm usually pretty good in that area. Not like I'm not bragging like I'm usually pretty good in that area. Nobody ever complains. That's not what I mean. That's not what I mean. It's true, but it's not what I mean. Anyway, that's my health report. That's my health report for anybody out there who might have been wondering. I'm sure you weren't. I'm sure everybody was like, well, that was a whole bunch of... I don't know where that came from. Well, now you know. That's how healthy I am. And my back hurts. I don't know what to do about that. What do you do for a bad back? Like, if you have a permanent back injury, and it's not debilitating to the point where you can't move at all, but when you bend and move and things, you know that you have to do it in certain ways or it's going to aggravate it, and you have a mild level of pain that you can stand most of the day. Like, I'm not in a constant level of tooth grinding pain with my back, but it does hurt throughout the day, often. And it's not going to get any better as it is. I do stretches, I do special stretches assigned to me from when I heard it several years ago. I do those fairly regularly. I fell off for a while and I felt the difference, so I have to do them nightly. And it helps, but I can tell it's not getting better. It's not going to get better. And so I have to wonder, what happens? Do you gotta get some kind of surgery? And what are they gonna do? Like, how do you fix bad muscles? Right? I don't know. I've never really thought about it before, and I don't think it's feasible. I don't know. I could look into it, but it's also expensive and it's time consuming, and it might put me out of action for a while, and I gotta be here. So I'm stuck with a bad back. I'm considering applying for disability with the state of Ohio, but I've heard that it's absurdly difficult to do that. And like, if you have the barest amount of, you can still move around and do things, you clearly aren't disabled and you don't need anything. And I can get around. It's not like I don't want to put one of those things in my car in the window, and I'm not going to yell at people who do that. I don't want one of those because I don't think that I need that, and I'm not going to be asking for a hover around and like a little mechanical chair to drive around in. I don't need any of that kind of stuff. I can get around fine. But lifting things and being on my feet for too long, the average labor stuff that you do for a job at my level of what I can do, whether it's in sales or shelf stocking or any of that kind of stuff, it's going to make things very difficult to get back into any of that kind of stuff if I need to get back into the workforce, which has been a constant thought in my head for when my daughter is old enough that she doesn't need constant care all the time. I mean, she's 10 years old, but when she's a teenager and she can hang out at home by herself without burning the place down, right, then I could go back to work and we could have two incomes again, other than what I'm making from the podcast and from all this stuff. But I don't know physically how much I'm capable of anymore, and the time's just gonna get worse. So I've been wondering if I should do disability with Ohio, just to get that little extra bit of income to help cover the bills and things, and to contribute a little bit more. But I don't know. I don't think they'll approve it, so I'm not banking on it. Excuse me. Got a dryness in my throat. Better have a drink. But that's that's the health report. That's Spider's health report. So what can we talk about next? I want to fill up another half hour. I don't want to just just leave it like, oh, meander around and blah 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 blah. Let me take a look. I've got some articles and things I've been looking at recently. Oh, here's one thing. Here's one thing I want to do an update on. You remember the last episode I talked about the Bigfoot the vlogs, the Bigfoot stuff on TikTok and YouTube. I don't have TikTok, so I don't know what it looks like there, but I know people put them on YouTube, where they make an AI generated Bigfoot doing things like cooking or visiting people or, going through adventures. Well, the bottom has dropped out of that market, it seems like. It didn't last for very long. Just like I said. I said it was already starting to cool down at the time, and now it's kind of... When you look for this stuff... Excuse me, pardon me. When you look for this stuff on YouTube, you look up the Bigfoot vlogs, most of it now is people who've downloaded it from other people and then re-upload it on their own channels. It's all copied and plagiarized and stolen and in compilations and things, and you have no idea who was the original creator was. You don't know where it started. You don't know. During the compilation, you might have like 3 or 4 good videos and then 5 or 6 crappy videos, and you don't know who made the good ones versus who made the crappy ones. So it's kind of a mess right now. It's kind of messy. So I'm not subscribed to anybody specifically for that because it's too difficult to pick who's actually making the good stuff and who's not. I watch a video every now and then from different people, but I no longer am interested as a whole in the phenomenon because it's just gotten like, oh, it was okay, and then it was funny, and then it was, oh, now it's all done. Now it's all done. Let's talk about Norm Macdonald. That's a weird pivot, isn't it? Just out of nowhere. Let's talk about Norm Macdonald. He was a comedian. He passed a few years ago. I don't know if it was 2015 or 2019. I know that's a big span of time, but he passed from cancer, and he hadn't told any of his closest friends that he had it. He just was fighting, and then one day he was gone. He had a movie called Dirty Work, which was funny, and he's been in a lot of Adam Sandler movies. And like I said, he was a comedian, and his jokes didn't always land. He had this particular style where he would ramble on, and then he would slip the joke in and wait to see if you would catch it and to see if you would laugh. He always did that thing where he would wait to see, and you could tell he loved it when either people didn't get it or when people caught on and were just like, oh, because some of the jokes were pretty rough. He was around on Saturday Night Live during the years of the O.J. Simpson trial of when the murders happened. So if you don't know what that is, if you're too young for that, you'll have to go look that up. But if you're my age or older, you'll know. So he has a lot of O.J. Simpson jokes. And I only had a passing interest. I thought he was funny, but I didn't get into a lot of his separate things until he was on a late night show, and I can't remember which one it was. I feel like it was Conan O'Brien, because I feel like he got along best with Conan. And he told my favorite joke of all time. And he's not the person who wrote the joke. It's been around for a while, and I'd already had it. It was already my favorite, because it's a joke that's not a joke. It's a philosophy lesson, almost, right? And I feel like I've told it on this show before. It's the joke about the three-legged pig. And if I've already said it on this show at some point in the past, which I feel like I have, you can forgive me, I suppose, because I'm going to repeat it. But it goes like this. A rich man decides that the city is stressing him out. He works in an office building, he works corporate life, and he's just like, oh, and he's, I guess not rich, but just he's a corporate drone, right? And he's got all this stuff going on, and he needs to clear his head. So he leaves the city, he drives out of the country, and then he decides to take a walk. And he takes a walk down a country road. And he passes a farm. And in one of the fields, he sees a pig with 3 legs. He's like, oh, well, that's interesting. And it's just there eating whatever it's doing. Not too far past that, within view of the pig, he sees what he assumes is the farmer. And he goes up to him. He says, hey, This is a nice farm you have here. I got a question though. What? I see you got a pig there, and the pig's only got 3 legs. What happened? And the farmer gives him a solid look, like like one of those "I'm looking at you, city boys" kind of looks, stereotype. And he says, "Let me tell you about that pig. That pig is the smartest, most amazing, best animal you've ever seen in your life." And the businessman's like, "Really? Why? Like, what about it?" And the farmer says, "Well, let me tell you. That pig can count up to 110. It can help me in the field. It helps, drive the tractor when I'm trying to bale up the hay. Just last week, it saved my youngest from drowning." And the guy's like, "Wow. A pig? A pig did that?" He's like, "You ain't heard nothing yet. The week before that, there was a fire in the downstairs kitchen. The pig knocked on the window and woke us all up. We put out the fire. Saved us all. We took it to the market, and the pig, it found me a deal. It found me a deal on a new thresher. And you wouldn't believe all the great things about that pig." And he goes on and on and on and on and on and on about this pig. And eventually, just the businessman's like, "Wow, I can't believe that. That's amazing. That really is a great pig. But you didn't tell me. What happened to the leg? Why has it only got 3 legs?" And the farmer looks at him all serious. And he says, "Well, man, you don't eat a pig like that all at once." And I know a lot of people might not think that's funny. And it's not funny. It's not a joke per se. For me, it's a life lesson. In a weird kind of way, it sticks in my brain. It's a lesson about life. And I had already known about this joke for a long time. It was one of my favorites growing up because I read it in a book. And then I watched a clip of Norm Macdonald on YouTube on Conan O'Brien's show. I'm pretty sure it's Conan. And he tells the joke, and it floored me. I couldn't believe it, that this guy knew my favorite joke. Because it wasn't a joke you saw comedians do. It wasn't that kind of a joke. It wasn't, what was popular at the time. And so he's one of my favorites now. Because I had to get used to, I had to really come around to his style. And when he told that joke, the rest of it kind of opened up. Like, he understood. He knew it wasn't just a joke, like me. So we had something in common. And when I watched the rest of how he did things with his comedy, I could see it. I saw that there was an undercurrent, that there was more to it than just what the joke was. And the world is a worse place without him around. Like a lot of people who are good people. They make an impact on you, and the world is worse off not having them in it anymore. I don't get into a lot of comedians. I have a weird thing about comedy in that I don't like racial jokes, which is a big thing right now. You have a lot of people of different nationalities and skin colors and whatever, and they always end up going to the racial jokes or the gender jokes. I'm not into that kind of stuff. And I don't grit my teeth and get mad about it, but I'm not into it. It doesn't make me laugh. But I am a fan of Eddie Izzard, Eddie Izzard is kind of a complicated case because I don't want to categorize them, and I'm going to say them, which might also irritate some people. But I've never met Eddie Izzard in person. We went to see them live in Cleveland, I think. I think it was in Cleveland. When before my daughter was born, when she was still in the belly. And it was hilarious. It was fantastic. Hilarious show. And I don't have... Some people don't like Eddie Izzard because of lifestyle choices and how they present themselves, and because, again, I'm using they instead of he or her or whatever. I don't see any of that as an issue. I think the jokes are funny. I think the commentary is funny. It's hilarious. So, I'm into that. I was a big fan of Dane Cook before he got famous. And it's one of those same things where it's like, whoops, excuse me. I hit something on my tablet. I was trying to, that was Mr. Jeremy Clarkson. I hope I don't get a copyright strike for that. I was trying to clear off, my tablet's got YouTube open, and I was trying to clear it off, and I hit a video by mistake. But, Dane Cook, before he was famous, and you might be like, oh, you're trying to be a hipster. I liked him before he was famous. No, I just think he was... I don't think he tried as hard back then. I think he was more spontaneous. I think the jokes came more naturally. I saw him on a Comedy Central Presents special, and it was really funny. And it was so early on in his career that he wasn't even... He hadn't been... Like, some years later, he was on the cover of something as, like, the sexiest man in the world, or something like that, voted in Time magazine, or something like that. I don't remember what it was, and he was on movies. Like, he was in movies with Ryan Reynolds and stuff. This was long before that. He was not in shape. I'm not saying he was, like, a big fat guy or anything like that. I'm just saying he obviously wasn't focused on that part of his appearance. He was just a guy telling crazy jokes, and it was funny. John Panay, or John Panette, maybe it is? John Panette? He was a big guy who told a lot of food jokes and took a lot of shots at himself at his own weight, but they were funny. And he made a lot of sense. He passed on from, I think, a heart attack because of his weight, which was ironic because he was working on losing a lot of weight to be healthier, and it still got him. So, that's how things can happen, unfortunately. It's ironic. It doesn't mean it's funny. It's just ironic. And, I don't know. I've had a few funny jokes from the various, like, Jeff Foxworthy and those guys. Larry the Cable Guy once in a while. I don't know. I'm not into full comedy sets from those guys. A joke here and there is okay, but I'm not into the rest of it. But there's a lot of nostalgia coming back right now. I don't know if you folks have seen all this. It kind of goes along with that. There's a lot of humor, nostalgia coming back. I saw that there's going to be a new Naked Gun movie, which the original Naked Gun movies, there were 3 of them, and they starred Leslie Nielsen. Again, gone too soon, even though he was an older guy. Hilarious. And they're making a new one with Liam Neeson, which is funny because LN, Leslie Nielsen and Liam Neeson. I saw the trailer for it, and some of it looked funny, and some of it looked like the modern equivalent of what they thought was funny back then. Like, obviously trying too hard. The bathroom jokes are not funny. I don't like, oh, I ate something that's making my stomach upset, and now I have to go to the bathroom. Oh, I'm making fart noises, and oh, I'm gonna poop myself. I don't like that kind of humor. I think it's dumb. I think it's stupid. Like the part in Dumb and Dumber with the laxative, and then the chocolate bar all over the wall. You know, not a fan of that kind of stuff. Gross out humor is not my thing. But it's interesting that it's coming back, because not only is that coming back, but they're going to do another Spaceballs movie. And Mel Brooks is 99 years old. And he's directing a new Spaceballs movie. Are you kidding? Wow. He's 99 years old. Gosh. I don't know how they're going to do it without John Candy, who was another funny guy, gone before his time. But it's interesting that it's come back. There's going to be another Happy Gilmore. I saw the trailer for that. It looked about, I don't know. There were parts that looked like it might be funny, but there are parts that looked like it was trying too hard. I don't know. Maybe, we'll see. There's a new Cheech and Chong movie coming out, but it's not a traditional movie. It's not like them in character. It's them revisiting their history. It's basically a documentary. It's them on the road revisiting their rise to fame by driving in the iconic car and things like that, and probably talking to people along the way that were in various parts of their films and parts of their act and everything like that. But it's just a big wave of nostalgia from like the late 80s, early 90s. All this stuff is all of a sudden... Well, I guess Happy Gilmore was more in the 2000s. Wasn't it? I don't remember for sure when that one came out, but still, it's interesting to see all this stuff trying to come back. Is it a sign that they're still, of course, running out of ideas in the old Hollywood zone there? Probably. But, you know, there's only so many ideas to be had, you know. I can imagine it's difficult coming up with new stories that aren't subconsciously informed by old stories. I mean, Disney tries constantly, as we talked about last episode, to make new live-action versions of their cartoons, and they keep failing and failing and failing. But their cartoon divisions, like Pixar, I guess, isn't doing very well either. Apparently there was a movie called Elio, and it's about a kid, and he gets picked up by aliens. And the only promotion I saw about it was when it was out. I didn't see any build-up. I didn't see... None of the trailers tell you what the movie's really about. You have to gather it from just various situations. Which is part of what the problem is, I think. They didn't pitch it to the potential audience in any meaningful way. They just kind of sprung it on people. And apparently it's not doing great at the box office. And I know box office numbers aren't always the be-all, end-all, but these movies got to make money for them to keep coming out and be quality. And I don't know. I don't know anything about the movie, and I think that's why it's bombing, because I didn't see... The only ads I've ever seen for it were on some of the streaming services, and they don't tell you anything about it. They don't tell you what the movie's about. There's just some random scenes, and then they say, Elio, out now, and whatever, theaters across America. And I think that's part of the problem. I think that's why it's not doing well, because it's just kind of there. Disney has lost the plot with a lot of things, as, you know, my last week's episode, well, last week or last previous episode, I guess, would tell you. And this just occurred to me too. I don't think I'm feeling good about this part. Apparently, there's 5 more Transformer movies, live action, slated, and they're bringing back the director from Rise of the Beasts, which wasn't a terrible movie. It had its high points, but it had its low points. None of the live-action movies have been all that great, except the Bumblebee movie was the best. Even that had a few problems, but it was still overall an improvement over the rest of the series. And then Rise of the Beast was kind of meh, whatever. That director is coming back for at least 1, maybe 2 movies or more. but they're also bringing back Michael Bay, who was responsible for a lot of the problems in the other movies. And I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. And I don't want them... They're trying to... And they did this in the comics, and it's because Hasbro owns them both. They in the comics, they rolled over the universes of Transformers and G.I. Joe, and they had a lot of crossover stuff. And they're doing it now with the newest comic series, which I haven't read because I only saw a little bit of it and I didn't like the direction it was going. But they're trying to do that for the live-action movies, and the live-action G.I. Joe movies have not been great. And I was never a huge G.I. Joe fan. I'd rather them just stick to one over the other. So I don't know. I got a lot of problems with that. I got a lot of problems with you people. Transformers is my Festivus airing of grievances these days. It used to be Star Wars, but I signed off on Star Wars. I'm not... I threw in the towel with Star Wars. After the end of the last trilogy, I was done with Star Wars. I haven't watched any of the shows. Like, I haven't watched Mandalorian or Boba Fett or Andor or whatever that Space Witches one was. I'm signed out. I'm done with Star Wars, which is too bad considering how much I liked it when I was a kid. I wrote fan fiction and everything, and I'm checked out. I'm still hanging on to Transformers. I'm still hanging on to Transformers, but I don't know how much longer I'll be able to do that. I don't know. I don't know. So that's your entertainment news portion of the show, I guess. And we managed to get almost a whole hour. We're getting towards the end here. Oh, here's a fun thing I also had to do over the past week or so. I had to replace the hard drive on my laptop, which is what I'm recording this show on, because it kept flashing up with, your hard drive is imminently failing. You should back up your data now. And I was like, oh, great. I went on to Amazon, and I looked up hard drives for my laptop, and surprise, surprise, this same thing happened 2 years ago. Just a couple months earlier. And the hard drive I had gotten had a 2-year warranty, and I was just a few months out. Because, of course. So I ordered a new one. I spent an entire day restoring from backup onto the new one, and now everything seems fine. So I had that to do. That was another fantastic bit of things that happened. So it's been eventful. It's been eventful. Oh, what should I do now? I should probably get down to some business before we close out here. Don't forget to go to my various video production places. If you want to watch me play the games live, then subscribe to me on Twitch. twitch.tv/DMGRGN. And that's, you can watch me as I play the games live. When you want to watch them after the fact, you can go to YouTube. Spider Does Things. That's my YouTube, of course. And that's where all of the videos and all of the podcast episodes and everything gets collected at some point into the central repository on YouTube, which is connected to the website ltatm.net. Let's Talk About the Madness. And that is the repository of everything else. You can connect to the YouTube from there. You can connect to Spreaker, where the podcast is hosted. You can connect to my music through Spotify. You can connect through Twitch for myself, for Stephen and Rob from This Uncanny Earth. Stephen and Robert. And you also have a lot of affiliates. We're affiliated with some pretty great people. If you want a new recipe, you can check out Cooking Basically, a good friend of This Uncanny Earth, who is also connected to the website as well. I told you, everything in my life goes through there. But cooking, basically, she's a friend of the family, the Uncanny family, the LTATM community, and she makes all kinds of great recipes and foods and things. So we've been trying to give her as much support as we can. If I haven't mentioned it for a while, I want to remind everybody the book, the ebook, Jack and V, is on Amazon right now. It's available. It's been out since May, and it is $2.99. And you can. My nose is getting kind of stuffy now since I've been talking so long. But it is out now. You can get it. You can download it. You can read it, and you can enjoy it. And then leave a positive review, if at all possible, on Amazon. And other than that, I don't have a whole lot going on. If you are a musician and you're looking for a record label, if you're local around here, or if you're just independent and you just don't know where to turn, you can check with us at Big Buff Records. Check with us on Facebook. Also, you can email me at official.ltatm@gmail.com, and we'll have a conversation about your artistic future. We do 1-year minimum contracts. Currently, you retain all of the rights to all of your various artistic endeavors, but we also get you hooked up with distribution, with merchandise, with shows if you're local enough. We do a lot, and we are looking to expand the roster. So get in touch with me, either on Facebook or at official.ltatm@gmail.com. Okay? And I think that's it. I think I'm going to close it out. We're a minute or so shy of an hour, and that's fine. But I think we had a lot of good conversation. Tune in next time. I don't know what we're going to talk about, but it's going to be awesome. So I will see you then. Have a good one.